That's why we looked into trading Jimmy. I mean, because we obviously believe that Trey can be a starter, and we're ready to do that. But if we can't upgrade our team in another way, we're not just going to get rid of a good quarterback because we have other quarterbacks on the roster. I mean, quarterbacks are really hard to come by. Some teams don't have any at all. When Jimmy gets his surgery and we can't upgrade our team by getting some good picks until his surgery, until people feel good about that, I'm all right with that. I mean, we're not just getting rid of him to get rid of him. I mean, Jimmy's a good player that we all really like as a person and as a teammate, and we're going to wait to see whatever helps the Niners the most.
So much honesty there. I feel like we don't usually get the goods. Could the 49ers really carry both Jimmy G and Trey Lance to start the 2022 season? Tricks, what do you think?
Okay, if we're playing Madden or if we're doing fantasy football, I think that you absolutely can. You take as many quarterbacks. You'd also add Aaron Rodgers, and you'd put in Malik Willis, and you might want to draft Kenny Pickett, too. It's not fantasy football, and there are human emotions, and there is a comfort level, and there is awkwardness that comes into this. Now, Jed York said yesterday that if there's any position in sports, it's the quarterback position that you would want to overinvest in. Like, why would you not want to have more? But Jimmy Garoppolo has to be a complete alien or someone with absolutely no emotional wavering to be able to go through another offseason and another season of this where the quarterbacks have the quarterback in waiting to replace you on the stat, but you did not be affected at all. And here's the crazy part. I think Jimmy's one of those guys that might be able to block it all out. And Jimmy's one of those guys, from what we've seen, like, he can listen to the criticism. He can listen to all the reports and be like, I'm just going to show up, make my $25 million, and do the best job I possibly can. The craziest thing about last season, when it all ended, is that Trey Lance comes out and was like, Jimmy Garoppolo's my best friend. Like, he could not have been better. Like, he was the warmest, most wonderful guy, and I love that guy. And it felt like a farewell that it had been messaged to those guys that Jimmy's no longer going to be here. But I don't think you can keep Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster week one. That part of the just weirdness and the awkwardness and the fact that you traded the other part is, in the NFL, as I mentioned yesterday, there is a salary cap. There is a pie. And different players make up the pie. And with the 49ers, they have two absolute superstars who have a very small piece of the pie right now, and that is Deebo Samuel and that is Nick Bosa. And both of these players need to be broken off very shortly. They come from the same draft class. They both are superstars in the league. And if you are paying Jimmy Garoppolo $25 million this season, which the 49ers are set to do, that is $25 million that cannot be put towards those two players' extensions.
It's a lot of pie.
It seems very pragmatic, and it almost seems humanless for me to talk like this, but it's actually the human element of it all. Like, if we go into another season with Nick Bosa not extended with that big contract, or we go into another season with Deebo still waiting for it, that starts to seep in a little bit. So I don't think you can keep Jimmy on, even though I agree with Jed York, you can never have enough good quarterback play, and if there is a position you want really good positions deep on the depth chart, it's quarterback. I just don't see how it makes sense, both A, for Trey Lance on a human level, B, on Jimmy Garoppolo. If he is a human, it seems like he might be an alien when it comes to this stuff. And then C, salary cap-wise from team building. It just doesn't make sense to give that much money to a quarterback who might not even be the number one.
We're already at the if he's a human.
How is he not affected by any of this?
But I pick up what you're putting down. Is it possible, what's the contract status? Could Bosa and Deebo play another year into the current deal for the sake of the team?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. They're better than they have Jimmy. And you got to go to them and be like, here's the deal. We want to go win a Super Bowl. That part of it is really practical, the contract part. The more fun part is the personal part. I'm oddly reminded in an inverse type of way of the Packers, where you draft Jordan Love and then you're like, Aaron Rodgers is too good, Jordan. Like, we can't play you. We have to bring Aaron back. We have to play him. He's too good. In this case, it's Trey. Jimmy's not good enough for someone to trade for him, so we have to bring him back. They're a prisoner of it by itself. I'm trying to think if does the Garoppolo have the psychological makeup to make this happen? He's got this really unique path. It checks all the boxes. The small school deal in college, classically trained in the Belichickian ways under Brady, and then he's been through stuff for years. That works. The question is more like, can Shanahan handle that circus? And it will be a circus.
It was last year. Everybody handled it.
I know. And he's already saying, we believe Trey can start. My question right off the bat is, who's your starter? I think it's Jimmy, right? Like, Jimmy is the veteran guy, is more established. And the problem is if you say, no, it's Trey. Jimmy understands his role. And then the first time Trey throws 2 interceptions in the first half of a game, well, dude, Jimmy's here. Like, Jimmy, and the players are saying it. So Goldblum says something in the second Jurassic Park movie where
Go on.
This is the worst idea in the history of bad ideas. To start, because I'm also hearing these crazy things about, you know, what if Baker comes back to the Browns and he and Deshaun are on the same? That's probably the Goldblum idea. The personalities are so interesting and unique, meaning mostly Garoppolo and Shanahan, that maybe you put on a top hat and conduct this circus because it makes for a better team and roster if you put the Madden style, like Peter said. Dante, are we crazy?
No, I love both of you guys' takes. They were excellent. I cannot top that.
I don't know about that.
I will. Yeah, definitely excellent. And you made a point. I was thinking of the Green Bay Packers situation as well. That's what I was thinking, that's the only thing that makes sense. For me, maybe Kyle Shanahan is just trying to keep the value of Garoppolo up.
Okay.
We're not just going to sell him,
Sure.
trade him away, because it doesn't make sense. There's no way. I'm with you, Peter. There's no way that they're going to have both quarterbacks on the team. It just doesn't make sense financially. It doesn't make sense as far as wasting a, number 3 overall pick. He has to get on the field. So I don't have much more to say after you excellent.
I understand. It's been
but
there before.
yeah, I don't think it's no way. I think what happens, the draft comes along, other offseason moves are made after the draft, and then eventually they can see if his arm is okay.
What about that scenario? They're both on the team. What if you're Kittle? If you're Debo, like, who the hell's leading this offense? Who's our guy? Could that work?
You've been through Jimmy.
You've been through wars with Jimmy.
Yeah, no, they do love Jimmy.
Right? They've come on this show and talked about how much they love Jimmy.
But they understand the financials and they understand.
That you would.
I'm still in the Jimmy camp, you guys.
That's okay.
Think about the 1 year that he stayed healthy, they went to a Super Bowl. That's the problem with Jimmy, is that he can't stay healthy. But even this past year, he's gotten shoulder surgery. I think it's safe to say that we're all a little surprised that happened. And then exactly, his thumb, he had a torn ligament in his throwing thumb. And he even told media, they asked, how does it feel? He goes, it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to really hurt to be honest about that kind of pain, because usually quarterbacks are like, it's fine, I'm going to work through it, it's all good. I know it's a gamble, because is he going to stay healthy? But if he's playing through all of those injuries and he's still almost getting you guys to the Super Bowl, I don't think that Trey Lance is the starter. Don't you think we would have seen more of him this season if he was going to be put in that position? That seems scary.
I'm
in the Jimmy camp.
That's the red flag. He played 3 games, Trey Lance, did not wow anybody. And then there's this debate of, is he great in practice or not? So John Lynch was with me at the Combine and was like, we saw some huge things from Trey Lance during practice. Joe Montana then spoke and was like, clearly he's not ready. So we can't get a read, like, has he even shown flashes? Because I go to your team, the Kansas City Chiefs. That year that Alex Smith was the lame duck quarterback and they had just drafted Patrick Mahomes, everyone would tell me, and whether it be on the record or off the record, that like, oh my God, you have to see Mahomes during practice. And Mahomes is lighting it up. And everyone knew that when the decision was made to move on from Alex Smith, it was because Mahomes is that good.
Even Alex Smith has said it, like we knew. We knew what time it was.
And you never heard what was the line that Kyle Shanahan used? He's progressing naturally.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that.
No, so I wonder, what have they seen from Trey Lance? And does that even matter? Like, is it, okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and let's just roll Trey Lance out there because it's time. We've given up 2 first-round picks for this guy, and it's time for him to play. $25 million. It seems like it's crazy money, but when you see the $40 million numbers, maybe it's not.
I don't even think the $25 million is all guaranteed, is it?
It's not. None of it.
Good luck, 49ers.